Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dirk Draper. I'm the president and CEO of the Colorado Springs Regional Business Alliance. And this is the last time I'll say that in public because on Monday we're changing our name back to the Chamber of Commerce and EDC. For the last 6 months or so, every time I'd introduce ourselves, our organization, I'd say we're the Regional Business Alliance. We're the Chamber of Commerce and EDC, and we just took off the front part of that. So it will be business as usual, just with a different name for us. And I'm getting some heavy feedback, am I not? All right. All right, folks. Thank you for joining us for the 10th annual State of the Region event. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as we present the colors from the El Paso County Sheriff's Department. Deputies Adela Mott, Lara Lowry, Severt Morganson, Ryan Sanders, and Tara Hall from the El Paso County Sheriff's Department present the colors. Following that, please remain standing as Jennifer Harris leads us in the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, deputies. Thank you, Ms. Harris, for opening our event today. Please take your seats. Before we begin, let me introduce some of our key elected leaders here. We have 380 folks in the room this afternoon, so and a good list of dignitaries from our community. Please join me in welcoming. All right, Dave Rose, what's the secret to the feedback? I'll fix that. Please join me in welcoming these dignitaries, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners and our keynote speaker today, Sally Clark. Others from El Paso County, the Board Vice Chair, Daryl Glenn. There's Daryl, to your left. And their fellow commissioners, Peggy Littleton, Mark Waller, and Dennis Heisey. There's Peggy and there's Dennis. Also, give him about 20 days and Stan Vanderwerf. Stan is a commissioner-elect, and he'll be in that office very quickly here. So Stan, welcome, and thank you for your service in advance. And in a group, as you would expect, El Paso County is well represented with other elected officials. Please join me in welcoming these folks. Our clerk and recorder for El Paso County, Chuck Broerman. Fourth Judicial District Attorney, Dan May. Our coroner, Dr. Bob Bucks. County Assessor, Steve Schleicher. And the guy who runs herd on all of those, our County Administrator, Henry Yankowski. From the state of Colorado, Representative Kit Ruppe. Where is Kit? I know she's here. Thank you, Kit, for joining us. From the city of Colorado Springs, Council President Merv Bennett. President Pro Tem Jill Gabler. And councilors Keith King, Bill Murray, and Tom Strand. And representing the mayor's office, Chief of Staff Jeff Green. And this is the state of the region. Keep in mind where we are. So we've got some representatives from other communities in the area. From the city of Manitou Springs, Mayor Nicole Nicoletta. Nicole, glad you're here today. And City Councilor Jay Rohr from City of Manitou Springs. Jay is over to your right. From the city of Green Mountain Falls, Tyler Stevens. I know you're here somewhere. Where is Tyler? Tyler Stevens is with us today. He is the Mayor Pro Tem from Green Mountain Falls. And from our region's federal delegations, representing the staffs of some of our senators and congressmen, from the office of U.S. Senator Michael Bennett, Annie Oatman Gardner. And representing our congressman from the 5th District, representing Doug Lamborn, is Jared Rigo. And finally, just a personal note for us in the business community, 2 other folks from the region, Debbie Miller from the Greater Woodland Park Chamber of Commerce, and Terry Hayes. Terry, raise your hand, from the Tri-Lakes Chamber, EDC, and Visitors Bureau. So it's a pleasure to have the region well represented from both elected and appointed and from the business community as well. So thank you all for being here today. Again, a big group today. If I've missed any other electeds, a quick raise your hand. Did I overlook anybody in our group? Yay, we made it. All right, good. Excellent, we got them all. Folks that were just introduced, thank you on behalf of the Regional Business Alliance and almost the Chamber of Commerce and EDC. Thank you for your service to our region, to your constituents, and to our electeds. Thank you for that. Folks, if you would, one more time. Today's event, as you know, would not be possible without the support of our sponsors, and there's 3 of them I'd like to recognize. AT&T. Where is AT&T, folks? Thank you for being here. Good table up front. And from Chase, and Chase Bank as well. Thank you very much for your support of today's event. And our media sponsor, the Gazette. So as I mentioned at the beginning in calling the group to order, today's the last time I'm going to introduce us as the Regional Business Alliance. As you may have seen in some of our press announcements, we're changing our name. The old is new again. We're going back to the Colorado Springs Chamber of Commerce and EDC. And appreciate folks' support and the feedback we've gotten in support of that. It's what we have been doing. It's what we will continue to do too. It's just very straightforward name change for us. We also encourage you to check out our new website with a real focus on economic development in the region. At Colorado Springs Chamber EDC, it's live today. Our name change is effective Monday, but our chamber website goes live today with a very different look and a very different content set than what you've seen previously, with a much stronger emphasis on doing business in and living in Colorado Springs as a means of drawing others to our good community to live and work. Take a look at that. Let us know what you think. Commissioner Sally Clark has served on the board of El Paso County Commissioners for 12 years. Previously, she served on Colorado Springs City Council. During her tenure in public office, Sally has earned a reputation for being a tireless worker. She brings passion and energy to the job, whatever job that is that she takes on, and those of you who have worked with her and alongside her know that. Welling, you can attest to that as well. Yeah, the hours that Sally puts in. On the Board of County Commissioners, Sally's been a champion for local control, making frequent trips to help state lawmakers and state agencies represent local issues. Help folks up north, about an hour away, recall that El Paso County, and not Denver County, is actually our state's most populous, and representing us well in that forum. 2 years ago, Sally became the first commissioner from Colorado to serve as the president of the National Association of Counties, also known as NACO. And for the last 2 years, she has represented us and represented Colorado very well and very actively in that role. She's conducted meetings in 45 states and hundreds of counties. She has testified many times before Congress, reminding them and reminding us that counties matter, urging her colleagues around the country to ensure that their counties are safe and secure and ready to serve their citizens whenever emergencies or disasters arrive. She's a familiar face working with our lawmakers in Denver and with her NACO contacts. She has become a familiar face in Washington as well. January 10th will mark Sally's last day in office as county commissioner, and it's an opportunity for her today as sort of a swan song. Sally is a commissioner to present the state of the region. We know you're not going anywhere, but in terms of officially, as a commissioner, and as I yield the microphone to you, just want to say thank you for your years of service, for the energy you've put in, and how you've represented our community. Thank you, Sally.
As my husband stands up. Well, thank you very much. And I do want to recognize my husband and thank him for all that he's sacrificed through the years as I've served on city council, as a county commissioner, as a neighborhood activist, and as well as president of National Association of Counties. And my father, who couldn't be with us today, he's had some health issues. He's the former mayor of Seal Beach, California, so I sort of grew up in a political household. But we're recording this so that he'll be able to be here even if he's not here today. He's certainly here in my heart. And my mom passed away a few years ago, but I know that she's up there too, supporting me as we were a very active political family. Thank you for being here today. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Come on. You can say it. Good afternoon. Taking time out of your busy schedule at this time of the year demonstrates an impressive level of interest and commitment to promoting economic vitality and supporting the high quality of life throughout our region. And counties are one of America's oldest forms of government, dating back to 1634, when the first county governments, or shires, were established in Virginia. The organization and structure of today's 3,069 counties were chartered under state constitutions. And unlike cities, counties are an arm of the state and federal government. No two counties are alike, and counties are diverse in structure and how we deliver services to our communities. In general, states decide the roles and responsibilities of county governments. Counties are governed by locally elected officials, and county governments are on the front lines of delivering vital services to residents. Here in Colorado, we have 64 counties throughout the state, and they range from less than 1,000 residents to 685,000 here in El Paso County. And while you may not see us as frequently in the news headlines, thanks, city council members, we appreciate that. We do play an important role in providing services to citizens, including keeping our communities safe and secure. And I wanted to just point out that you'll have on your tables a little fact book from El Paso County. You're welcome to take these with you. And there's also an annual report from the National Association of Counties that Dirk mentioned about what counties do on a national level so that you have a better understanding of county government. But I'm going to talk about this today and give you kind of an idea of what we've done, where we're going, and I think where we've been. You know, nationwide, counties own 45% of our roads and 40% of bridges. In El Paso County, that's more than 2,100 miles of roadway and 270 bridges. Counties support 1,592 of the nation's public health departments, including El Paso County Public Health. And we operate 91% of local jails nationally and spend $93 billion a year on justice and public safety. Counties house 11.4 million inmates a year, compared to 2 to 3 million in our state and federal prisons. There are nearly 1,700 inmates at El Paso County's Criminal Justice Center and Metro Detention Facility on a typical day here in El Paso County. We provide that basic safety net of the county from preventing child abuse, and the El Paso County Department of Human Services has responded to nearly 16,000 reports of possible abuse and neglect so far this year. Unfortunately, we lead the state. To preparing for and recovering from man-made and natural disasters, to supporting our cities and towns, all 8 of them, in our communities and our communities' unincorporated areas, importantly, there's always a place under our umbrella. County Veterans Service Offices help our veterans as they file to receive the VA benefits that they have earned. Can all of our military and retired military and veterans please raise your hands and let's recognize them for their service. Thank you for your service for protecting our freedoms. This year, the El Paso County Veterans Service Office has taken 37,000 calls from local veterans. Let me say that again, 37,000 calls. As we close out 2016, I'm happy to report that the state of the region is strong and that we're well positioned for continued growth and prosperity. And it was in 2006, when I was chair of the board that year, that the first State of the County address was sponsored by the Chamber, and here we are today, 10 years later. And I can tell you, the news is much more encouraging today than it was then. We prepared for the recession and cut our budget by $45 million over several years back then. Today, we're telling a much different story of successes, accomplishments, and an optimistic future. Retail sales, as measured by county sales tax collections, are up 6.1% so far this year. Use tax on building materials is up 27%. Building cranes are up and working at locations throughout the region, and with Pikes Peak Regional Building reporting that 3,473 new residential permits and 418 new commercial permits have been issued so far this year. And thanks to a couple of historic hailstorms, our motor vehicle technicians are busier than ever processing new registrations and transferring license plates. And so far, our clerk and recorder, Chuck Berman, and his office has processed more than 1 million transactions this year, up 10% from this time last year. And by the way, our new clerk and recorder's branch office on Fort Carson is the first of its kind in the country and was one of the busiest polling locations during the last month's record-setting voter turnout. Yeah, let's give Chuck a hand. You know, all of these important local indicators tell us that the long-awaited and slower than expected economic recovery has finally arrived. The statistics, however, don't give us a complete picture, and just think of how the news stories have changed. 8 years ago, we were making national news we didn't really deserve, and we certainly didn't like. The stories were accompanied by pictures of darkened street lights, overflowing trash cans, and tall weeds. Readers and viewers were told that our brightest days were behind us with only dark nights ahead. Those stories were, of course, wrong. Eventually, the media shifted its focus to other matters, and we began to recover from the Great Recession. But then, just as the clouds of recession began to clear, we faced two historic and deadly wildfires, the Waldo Canyon and the Black Forest, followed by a series of flash floods that washed out roads. It destroyed bridges and closed some of our most valued trails and recreational areas. We've come through some really tough times together. And while we still have burn scars to heal and washouts to rebuild, these adversities have brought us closer together. Through our recovery efforts, we've grown to embrace the power of collaboration and cooperation. We've learned to be better communicators, and we've seen the value of working across city, county, state, federal boundaries, and engagement with nonprofits and neighborhood groups like Council of Neighbors and organizations known as KONO. As a result, we're stronger, more resourceful, and more resilient than today than ever before. Those of you who attended the recent UCCS Regional Economic Forum heard Regional SBDC Director Kelly Manning say, "What we saw in your community after the fires and floods was unprecedented collaboration. Political affiliations and differences were set aside, and everyone came together to focus in a way we don't see in other areas." You're probably all familiar with the Baptist Road interchange, just a few miles north on I-25. What you may not know is that this interchange wouldn't exist today without a unique public-private partnership that involved the property owners, the county, the Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority, the Colorado Department of Transportation, and the town of Monument. When El Paso County stood up the Baptist Road Rural Transportation Authority, known as BRTA, in 1997, critical transportation improvements in this part of the county were decades away from becoming a reality. The collaboration made it possible to issue bonds to build the interchange, 2 modern traffic circles, intersections, and a railroad overpass, paving the way, no pun there, for this area to become a leading economic driver. In May, we opened the Baptist Road West Railroad overpass. And in July, the local sales tax that was established to pay for the Baptist Road improvements was eliminated. And this month, the Board of County Commissioners approved the resolution and dissolved BRTA. That's historic. Let's give that a round of applause. Now, on Monday, we had the groundbreaking for something near and dear to my heart, if you know me very well, is the West Side Avenue Action Plan project. There won't be a lot of construction over the winter, but next spring, construction work will begin on this major project to reclaim and revitalize this historic commercial gateway from Old Colorado City to Manitou Springs, Ute Pass, and the Colorado Rockies. This project would be nowhere without an unprecedented collaboration between El Paso County, the City of Colorado Springs Utilities, the PPRTA, the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments, the City of Manitou Springs, and the Manitou Springs Urban Renewal Authority, CDOT, the Colorado Department of Transportation, and Organization of West Side Neighbors, and most importantly, business owners, residents, and the voters. And I want to recognize former Mayor Mark Snyder, who helped us along the way, and of course, Marcy Morrison, former mayor of Manitou, also for their longstanding support of this project, because many folks came before me to help us with this. Construction crews are on track to complete the new Cimarron and I-25 interchange. Wow, that's big stuff, guys. And by this time next year, this project replaces worn-out bridges that were more than 50 years old, includes major safety and capacity improvements, and will provide an efficient and attractive new front door to both downtown Colorado Springs and Highway 24 West. PPACG, PPRTA, the county, the city, the chamber, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and others made many trips to Denver to avoid seeing scarce highway dollars go to projects elsewhere. And looking ahead, we'll need that same teamwork and collaboration to address the unsafe and inefficient I-25 bottleneck, which the governor has recognized as the gap, from the top of Monument Hill to Castle Rock. Fixing this will be even more challenging, not only because the buying power of the fixed gas tax continues to shrink, but also because the bottleneck is north of the El Paso County line and is in a different metropolitan planning region. What does that mean for us? It means that the Denver Regional Council of Governments, known as DRCOG, will need to prioritize it and understand why it's so important to fix this problem, and we can't wait 10 years. I want to thank our new Transportation Commissioner. Rocky Scott is here today, and I know that he's going to be working on that along with all of the folks in the region. And then recently, the county commissioners unanimously sent a letter to the governor and state lawmakers and the Douglas County commissioners urging their support of this critical project. And I think that's just the first letter of support we're going to see, right? You're all part of that. So before I move off transportation, there is a huge traffic jam every morning into Fort Carson, into Gate 20 from the security wide field area, and I want to assure our Army partners that the county will continue working on this. We'll need your help to work with our state and federal partners to secure defense access road funding for critical road improvements leading to Gate 19. With the arrival of the Combat Aviation Brigade, many more civilian and military personnel are heading to Betts Airfield on an old dirt and gravel road that was designed only to provide access to Charter Oak Ranch Road. The county has secured federal transportation dollars to complete engineering and design work, and the Army has identified this as a top priority for defense access road funding. As always, we're competing with other installations and around the country for those dollars. As president, and now immediate past president of the National Association of Counties, or NACO, I've traveled extensively. I think it's about to 45 states during my 4 years as an officer of NACO. And you'll be happy to know that I always use the Colorado Springs Airport. Now, I'm not going to take credit for all the additional emplanements, but I will tell you that we have recently contributed to the recent good news that emplanements are up a lot. And I've seen firsthand that many counties are experiencing a resurgence in economic activity. I can tell you also, without exception, that those counties have a focus on important things like workforce training, workforce housing, and quality of life. The Pikes Peak Workforce Center, the Small Business Development Center, and the Colorado Procurement Technical Assistance Center are all county-affiliated agencies that do a lot of good work to help ensure our economic development. Those folks from the Workforce Center and from SBDC and PTAC, would you please raise your hands so we can recognize you? So today I want to call attention to the El Paso County Housing Authority for its work in addressing the need for workforce housing. And I'd like my fellow commissioners to start working their way up here if you might. The County Housing Authority has committed to facilitate the construction of 377 new units and the preservation of 311 existing units of workforce housing with private activity bonds and the Housing Trust Fund. In addition, through its turnkey program and working together with local lenders, the County Housing Authority has provided down payment assistance to make homeownership affordable for more than 2,000 residents, and through that assistance program, more than $14 million has been brought back into the local economy. In a recent meeting with a Business Alliance prospect, the turnkey program was viewed as a noteworthy incentive in attracting and retaining a quality workforce. You should also know that the County Housing Authority has provided $250,000 that will leverage other resources, including the county-administered enterprise zone contributions of more than $400,000 so far this year for the benefit of the Springs Rescue Mission's new shelter to reduce the problem of homelessness in our community. For its highly effective use of local, state, and federal financing incentives to address critical needs in our region, the El Paso County Housing Authority is recognized as our 2016 State of the Region Economic Development Project of the Year, and Board Chair Jag Busey is here to accept this award on behalf of the Housing Authority. We have a very small stage.
Let me go to the other side. It's been so long since I've seen you.
Jack, could you just stand right up here? Holy man.
This is tight. You are kidding.
Cameras are out. You were a bit shorter than you seem. Sorry.
Why don't we do this one? Let's just have Sally come down.
I guess we could have had a bigger stage, huh? So next, as someone who owns 3 turn-of-the-century homes, and my husband will attest to this, it takes a lot to keep up. I believe that some of the most regrettable decisions that sometimes are made in communities are those that result in the loss of historic landmarks. History tells us that during the mining boom in the early days of El Paso County, there were days when the trading volume on the floor of our mining exchange at Pikes Peak in Nevada in downtown Colorado Springs was greater than the trading volume on the New York Stock Exchange. As the mining boom faded, this was no longer Class A office space, and the future of the building was in doubt until our 2016 Person of Influence stepped in with a plan to renovate and revitalize. Our 2016 Person of Influence Award goes to Perry Sanders for his ongoing investment of time, energy, and money into renovating, repurposing, and breathing new life into downtown landmarks.
Trust me, the stage designer's fired.
Perry said he promises a bigger stage next year. And this is a great example, standing right here at the Antlers, too. He's done a great job on this property as well, don't y'all think? So for our 2016, our annual Public Employee of the Year Award goes to Roger Lovell of the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department. I think he's got a cheering section over there. Through the work of the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department, our regional flood zone maps have been totally updated in compliance with complex federal regulations, and thanks to this effort, many homes and businesses throughout the region no longer need to purchase costly flood insurance. At Roger's direction, Regional Building continues to develop and implement faster and more efficient online services for required permits and inspections. And now there is a joint initiative underway between RBD and our El Paso County Planning and Community Development Department that will reduce paper and streamline applications and permits throughout the development process. Thank you, Roger, for your service to our community. He makes his way back. Let's give him another hand, and all those at Pikes Peak Regional Building. Insofar as I'm concluding 12 years in office with my fellow commissioner, Dennis Heisey, and two new commissioners, Lojinos Gonzalez, who couldn't be with us today, but Stan Vanderwerf certainly is. Both of them will be sworn in on January 10th, and you're all invited to attend the Oath of Office ceremony at Centennial Hall. I wanted to take this opportunity to recognize two former county commissioners, Jerry Howells and Marcy Morrison, with our annual State of the Region Making a Difference Award. First, in the 1980s, Jerry Howells was a member of the task force coordinating the design and construction of Powers Boulevard. She also helped to guide several nonprofit organizations addressing critical social services needs throughout the region. And these include the Pikes Peak Community Action Agency, now Reach Pikes Peak, the Need Foundation, and Aspen Diversified Industries. And this demonstrates our willingness as a region to extend helpful hands up to those who need it. Jerry Howells served as an El Paso County Commissioner from 1989 to 2005, and as mayor of Fountain from 2005 to 2013. She now provides assistance to seniors who have been victimized by crime and continues to make a difference in our community. Jerry, come on forward and accept this award with our sincere thank you. I also gave her a challenge coin on behalf of El Paso County because I think she has challenged us to do a better job in our community, and I think we strive for that every day. Now, the next one, Marcy Morrison served on the board of El Paso County Commissioners from 1984 to 1992, and then moved on to serve 8 years in the Colorado State House of Representatives, was mayor of Manitou Springs from 2000 to 2006, and was the Colorado State Insurance Commissioner from 2006 to 2010. She's truly an overachiever. She is a recipient of the prestigious Nathan Davis Award given by the American Medical Association to recognize outstanding public service, and she's been honored by the March of Dimes for her tireless advocacy in public service and through private charitable volunteer organizations on behalf of mothers and children. She also serves on the Manitou Springs Urban Renewal Authority Board and was a catalyst for the West Side Avenue Action Plan project. Trust me, she was a catalyst. A lunch at Amanda's Fonda, as I recall, but I'm honored to present this award to Marcy Morrison for truly making a difference. Finally, it's been a tradition at the State of the Region luncheon to recognize an elected official who has demonstrated commitment to progress through regional collaboration. So if those of you who think we don't work together, that's not true. We work really well together. We may always agree or disagree sometimes, but we do work well together. This year, that recognition goes to Colorado Springs City Council President Merv Bennett. And yes, you do have to come up, Merv. It's been an honor and a privilege to work with Merv on many regional issues. Most recently, Ring the Peak and the Ute Pass Regional Trail, and of course, another one, the West Side Avenue Action Plan project. We've worked together on important projects like these, and Merv understands that regional collaboration is a critical component of getting the job done. Thank you, Merv, for your service. You know, I started my remarks today by pointing out that we've been tested by recession, fires, and floods, and that through these trying events, we've learned about the power of teamwork. The people and organizations recognized today have all proven themselves to be most valuable players on our regional team. And it's been my distinct honor and privilege over the past 12 years as a county commissioner, and before that on city council, to work alongside each of them and many others who worry more about fixing problems than fixing blame. Through teamwork and collaboration, together, we've changed the headlines. The economic downturn and fires and flood stories have been replaced by prominent placement on media lists highlighting various bests. Best places to start a business, best big city in the Mountain West, #1 among urban areas with more than 300 population, A+ for business friendly, bicycle friendly, best places for pets, I love that one, best places to call home, and many more. Over the last 12 years, I've also been privileged to work with 4 different boards of commissioners, and some highlights stand out. Commissioner Dennis Heisey and the reopening of Willow Springs Ponds near Fountain after contamination by a local manufacturer. Commissioner Wayne Williams, who isn't here today, but we always knew as Mr. Transportation, and his advocacy for transportation funding and the expansion of I-25 from Academy to Monument and the PPRTA. Now it's time to finish the job up there. Commissioner Jim Binsberg and his efforts to simplify permitting and use tax, and for helping to secure equitable state funding to help us protect children from abuse and neglect. And Commissioner Amy Lathan for her support and understanding during and after the Waldo Canyon fire and floods in my commissioner district. Thank you, Amy. Commissioner Darrell Glenn and his work in helping citizens to recover following the devastating Black Forest fire. And Commissioner Peggy Littleton and her advocacy for emergency preparedness, including the highly successful zombie run. There is a point to that. Commissioner Mark Waller has been working with us on the county's strategic plan as a foundation and resource for our new commissioners to build on. And even former Commissioner Doug Bruce and I would agree on occasion, although not necessarily for the same reasons. And our countywide elected officials, Assessors Steve Schleicher and Mark Louderman in automating assessors' data and online access, Dr. Bob Bucks and Dr. David Bowerman for working to bring the coroner's office up to national standards, Judges Martinez, Gross, and Prince for their advocacy of problem-solving courts, including Veterans Court and pretrial services. Our Sheriff's Office for being visionary in community detox, reentry, and reintegration programs, and for Sheriff Elder's commitment to wildland fire. District Attorney Dan May for his partnership with me on the Not One More Child initiative to eliminate child fatalities and protect our littlest citizens. Former Treasurer Sandra Dameron for her work to assure fiscal accountability and a sound county investment system. Clerk and Recorders Chuck Berman and Bob Balink for assuring accurate elections. Governor-appointed public trustee Tom Mole for ensuring a transparent and citizen-oriented foreclosure system. And county surveyors Lawrence Burnett and Chris Brewer, we thank them for working so well with the county commissioners. And lastly, we couldn't do any of this as commissioners without our competent staff. Our administrator, Henry Yankowski, and former administrators, Jeff Green and Terry Harris, and our directors, Tim Woken, Dan Martindale, Amy Folsom, Jim Reed, Rick Bangston, and now Julie Crow, Dave Rose, Nicola Sapp, Craig Dossie, Jeff Eckhart, and all our county employees. Can all county employees please stand up and be recognized? And a special thank you to Jessica McMullen and Megan Estrella, who managed to manage my calendar throughout the last 4 years as a NACO officer. Thank you so much for what you've done to keep things going at El Paso County. Let's give them a hand. Stand up. Where are you? I know you're both here. Thanks to the Chamber and Dirk for hosting this event once again today. Even though it's 10 years later, I guess it's a decade later, it's important for us to understand that the Chamber has recognized the relevance of El Paso County government to business and our community. In closing, we can predict with greater certainty that in 2017, we'll continue to face challenges ranging from inadequate capacity on I-25 to the national crisis on opioid and substance abuse, teen suicide, homelessness issues, and a number of other subjects. But I am confident that the new board, including Stan and Lohinos, will, when they take the oath on January 10th, will continue to provide that same collaborative leadership and strong advocacy at the state and national level to be at the table on issues that impact our county and our citizens. Because together, we are stronger, we are more resilient, and we are more capable than ever before to meet those challenges, accomplishments, and the path that lays ahead. I've heard it said that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. El Paso County is committed to being at the table with the community and working together for a brighter future. Thank you again for being here today, to supporting regional efforts, and to better understand why counties matter, and for all you do to support our community. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and have a very happy and prosperous new year. Thank you.
Commissioner Clark, thank you for that address, and thank you for the leadership that you provided for the region for many years. Folks, thank you for joining us this afternoon. One more time, I'd like to thank folks from El Paso County and Perry Sanders for your crew at the Antlers for working with our staff in organizing and presenting today's event. Bigger stage next year. We've got that noted. Thank you very much. Also like to thank our sponsors, AT&T, Chase Bank, and the Gazette. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll echo Commissioner Clark's remarks and wish you happy holidays and a very bright new year. Thank you for joining us. We're adjourned.